Life is a journey. We all shine in our own unique way. Our world is shaped by our ideas, our belief, and efforts we put to make things happen. Alternate thinking, out of box thinking, and transforming ourselves according to situation is true to mankind since our evolution. Irrespective of everything, we all have the power of choice. We can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on. We can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do. Our problem solving and decision making approaches are honed in various B schools across the world, and among some of the most prestigious institutions are our IIMs. In Vyap's Growth Series today, we have with us Founder Director of IIM Bodh Gaya, Dr. Vinita Sahai. Dr. Vinita, with more than 2 decades of experience, has been instrumental in her contribution towards professional education. Welcome, Dr. Vinita.
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been a pleasure to be with you, Mr. Bande.
We start with our first curiosity. How do you see the growth of business school space, such as IIMs? And what are the challenges faced by institutions in this pandemic?
COVID-19 has been a huge leveler, I must say. And I'm talking more on behalf of the industry that I belong to, which is management education, tertiary education, and that too very specifically management. So for us, it is a huge opportunity as I see it, because like typically in a management education, you have 3-4 buckets. One is your flagship bread and butter PGP course or MBA course as we call it. And then we have executive education, consulting, research, all these things are the other buckets. So COVID-19, yes, I see it there were negotiations, there were conversations, there were already people were taking online education as a great future forward way to go. And COVID-19 has just further accelerated that conversation. And specifically, I see it as a huge opportunity, especially in the executive education. Online is no more a fear factor for grown-ups. It's no more an alien thing for grown-ups. People are very comfortable with the idea of conducting meetings, carrying out meaningful conversations, taking major decisions online, which was not the case earlier. So education was also one such serious business, which people were not very keen that online would suffice same as brick and mortar or physical human touch interaction. But COVID has made it all very easy. So going forward, I see a lot more adoption of online teaching, online training, which I feel is a huge boon, especially for a business school like ours, which is new on the horizon. And with little physical locational disadvantages. So what has happened now, geographies have ceased to exist. So being in Bodh Gaya is not necessarily being in Bodh Gaya now. The world is the playing field. So that makes it very, very exciting and very, very interesting times for us.
Okay. So you're very optimistic about the kind of future the B schools are going to have with technology in place. But can you also share us, what are the opportunities created by this pandemic? As you shared some, we would like to further know some more things if you could share for us for B schools, and what reforms and transformations are required to excel in the changing landscape.
See, here again, I would like to talk about different buckets, as I say. For a flagship course, which is MBA course, MBA course is not just about learning. MBA course is about experiences, it's about networking, it's about the kind of people, the kind of group of people that whom you interact with, you live with, you spend time with. So therein, I do not see much change, pre-COVID and post-COVID. We will be very quickly going back to the old model to a large extent. So if today we are 100% online, we'll at least go to 70% in person. Only 30% would remain to be online. So, and that too across areas where, especially new campuses like ours or geographically challenged campuses like ours would continue to use online, because it will be difficult for us to bring in the best of the experts from across the globe, across the industry, across the sectors to be there on campus. So we would use that opportunity to bring them online. And since everybody is so okay with the idea of learning online, it will not be seen as a compromise. So you can imagine somebody pitching in for a half an hour session in a highly specialized area from Mumbai, from Gurgaon, and without having, spending time on transit and all that traveling and all. So in a typical MBA, we'll go back very quickly, and I can see the trends already. Our students are craving to be back on campus. Because online for sure is not substituting what an MBA class is all about. Even teaching pedagogy and everything is very, very, I would say, in tune with physical infrastructure and physical interaction. But the executive education is one window where in any case it was extremely difficult for companies, for executives to take out time specifically only for learning, only to brace up, only to be in tune with times. That is one area where I'm seeing a lot more changes happening. People picking up online courses, and as I said, it is not that it was not happening before. MOOCs were there, Coursera and all these things were very much becoming a part of life. COVID has just accentuated it and has just led to far more faster adoption. As in consumer life cycle, we say that adoption process has been accelerated big time by COVID-19.
People are now comfortable about it.
Yes. So overnight they've been thrown into it, So who would have imagined you interviewing me over online? So it's happening, and it's happening very fast and very efficiently and very effectively as well.
Very true. In fact, it has given us a lot of opportunity to explore as well. But when you talk about a lot of opportunity, do you think that this sector is also going to have some direct or indirect employment perspectives? And do you see integration of new topics or subjects into the curriculum as part of new normal?
Yes, of course. Post-COVID era is different. Already, as a humanity, we have started questioning where did we go wrong, and for sure, new normal is not going to be the same as the earlier one. And with the new normal, a different kind of skill set would be needed. Industries already started making noise about it, that they need something extra among the pass outs, among the graduates. People have started talking in terms of more creative students, more problem solving students, more emotionally intelligent students or graduates. So with these new age courses or new era courses, as we can put across, we would for sure need different and more experiential learning. And again, that is where I feel that geographies, which otherwise would have been a hindrance, courtesy online and courtesy all these digital platforms which are now available, and that much more fine-tuned. So you can conduct assessments today in a much more transparent way. You can conduct many more experiential ways to teach. So all that is going to be a huge accelerator, and we would be able to cater to the demand of very different graduates than what was.
Okay. When you talk about online education, I think one semester or one quarter has been entirely on online, seeing the pre-COVID conditions, and we have seen that there are a lot of mental issues have started come up. I'm not talking about B schools, but I'm talking about primary schools. If you talk of the students and other things, why? Because they were not used to it. I'm sure B schools are somewhere used to it. Maybe 1 or 2 hours, may not be of 6 or 7 hours. How do you address these kind of challenges in B schools?
Uh, Again, as I was mentioning, that my experience is primarily on a tertiary education, and that too very specifically management, where online or tech savviness was already there. Having said it, we see it all around us. We have already seen what researchers have started showing, that yes, this has huge repercussions in terms of well-being and mental health of participants, especially if more young the participant is, more is the need to explore, to touch, to feel, to emote, to talk, to play, all that. So for primary, secondary, senior secondary education, yes, I am still a skeptic when it comes to online education. Nothing can translate a school experience where a child just does not just learn, but he also learns a whole lot of other life skills, as we call it. So, and long continued exposure to online screens is for sure telling on the health of the participants. But that was also the case of not just the online learning, but online socializing, which had started much earlier. So when the social media came and the social life of the students or the youngsters were getting limited to a screen, one screen or other, we had already started seeing the repercussions. COVID again has just accentuated it big time. And it has further accentuated also primarily of the fact because uh, the seclusion or the distancing was very, very unnatural. It was done all of a sudden. It was very airtight. So you were simply not allowed to meet people, not allowed to go to houses or school or any park or any playing spaces. So total lack of physical activity, total lack of human interaction, and that too, especially in nuclear families where there's just one or two children, it has been a huge cost. So I see, at least in the school education, it should and it must go back to the normal, because what has happened, and I actually equate it as same as violence. We are actually doing violence with our youngsters these days. Because when this happened, like I remember even our approach towards the entire thing when COVID-19 happened. Luckily, at least for us, we had finished this semester and we had finished exams and everything was done. But still, the initial knee-jerk reaction, oh, that this is a crisis and we have to deal it like a crisis. Immediately, we made a cross-functional team and people got onto the act. And slowly, it dawned on us that no, this is not just one-off, 1 month kind of a situation. We have to learn to live with it. So then we got into this whole act of going back to normalcy, and we thought covering syllabus, getting the lessons taught is what it is, and we in the process were pushing our youngsters to that abnormal normalcy without recognizing that this is not what it is. Now, yes, we all, as educators, as parents, as people in the academics, we've started realizing that we have to do something very, very serious about it. Already, I think we've started taking corrective actions, and as I said, that's the reason. Eventually, it's going to be hybrid. We cannot say that online is going to take it all. No, it cannot be. In the end of the day, humans are social animals, and we would need to remain sane.
Very true. I mean, the next course of action would be hybrid education only, because only digital education may not suffice the purpose.
No, absolutely.
So my fourth curiosity lies about you as a professor. So you have been a professor who teaches from heart and feels the pulse of the subject. Can you share your experience around it?
Yes, actually, yes, we become academic administrators, but we continue to remain what is our core identity, which is the teacher. And I think all of us are extremely proud, sensitive, and possessive about this identity of ours. And as a reason, wherever we get time, we go back to classes. See, teaching has always been a kind of a like, I've never seen teaching to be teaching kinds. It has to be more of a facilitation. So I remember having shared all my life. I've shared with my students that my basic objective is to make every participant of mine fall in love with the discipline which is mine, which is marketing, and more precisely to be services marketing.
Mhm.
Uh, Rest, I think we're lucky being in IIM that we get the cream of the country. So boys and girls are extremely intelligent, diligent. So if you just are able to sensitize them or are able to make them, as I say, they can fall in love with the discipline,
Mhm.
learning happens to a large extent, also because of their own initiatives. So you have to just get them enthusiastic enough about the discipline. And I see is the role of a teacher. Uh, and yes, I think unless you're very passionate about what you do, you will not be able to come to that space where your passion has to rub off on others
Mhm.
and make them an active listener, participant in this entire journey of learning.
Okay. So, what do you enjoy more, being an administrator or being a teacher?
$1 million question. See, I still feel that academic institutions should be headed by academic people who are from academics. So whether we like it or not, this is our national duty to do it.
Mhm.
Because if we won't do it, pure administrators will do it, which will not be a good thing. Like, I always feel that a doctor should head a hospital, because unless you know what it is, you can't do justice to the discipline. And educate is not just about carrying out classes. It is much more than that. It is character building. It is teaching life skills. It is grooming them, as we call it.
Mhm.
And of course, teaching them artificial intelligence, R and Python as well.
Mhm.
So I think, yes, we continue to feel very, very passionate about our basic discipline, which is teaching.
Mhm.
But who else will do this job? So we also have to, by rotation, take up these positions to do justice to it.
So multiple roles
Yes.
for a teacher, and we have seen you from your past, being an educator, serving the society a lot, and you have been really passionate with the kind of work you have done so far. And we hope and we wish you all the best, that you continue to serve our nation and college for that matter. It was really some nice perspectives from you, very profound perspectives, in fact. Thank you, Dr. Vinita, for being with us in Vyapt Growth Series.
Thank you, Vyap, for giving me this platform to share my viewpoints. And as I feel and born optimist that I am, we are in for great times, and these are just passing times and passing situations. And I think everybody who's a participant to this industry should view it as one. And let's get ready for a hybrid model, which is going to be much more effective and much more meaningful for our participants. So thank you, and once again, thanks to your entire team.
Thank you so much.